Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Happy Tuesday. The boys just got off the field. Sorry, I was getting a little bit of a practice report, so a little bit late tonight, but I appreciate you guys being on here as always. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, we've got a huge show coming for you tonight. Playoff rankings are coming out as we speak. Ryan Day, Jim Knowles, Will Howard met with the media today, talk a little bit about Indiana. Go through what Kirk Barton had to say about the Bucks. Very interesting conversation. He's having a great week, getting his extension. What does this game mean to the program? What are our playoff rankings going to come out to be? A lot of stuff going on. This is going to be a huge 3-week stretch on Buckeye Scoop and BuckeyeScoop.com. If you have not joined BuckeyeScoop.com, I don't know what you're waiting for, because this is about to be the greatest 2-month stretch of Ohio State football in history. So we're super excited about that. Giving you frontline coverage each and every day. Also, if you guys have not subscribed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please do so. That's a huge way to help this program out. We appreciate you guys kicking it with us, like always. Nevada, we're going to bring you in real quick. How you feeling? Ryan Day got to the podium. Your boy Jim Knowles got to the podium. Will Howard was excellent as always. The playoff rankings are coming out. Very interesting time for the Buckeyes as we head into Indiana week. How are you feeling today?
I was feeling a lot better about 30 minutes ago, but I'm feeling good.
Sorry.
But look, yeah, Ohio State's just look. There's going to be some. You're going to be tested, man. What do they say? God only tests those that handle it. We're going to see how well we can handle it, and the energy and the vibe and everything going into this game. I think we've got some huge, big advantages against Indiana. But yeah, we're going to be tested. We're going to be tested, and we're going to see where how Ohio State. We're going to test that tremendous depth of Ohio State kind of coming down the stretch, because stuff's going to pop up, and we're going to have to deal with it, because that's what Ohio State does. And I think it's going to be a very interesting time here the next few weeks. It's going to be a very interesting time this Saturday in Columbus. I know they're kind of imploring to bring their A+ game on it, and we're going to need it. We're going to need an A+ up for fans. I know they've been complaining about the 12 noon start up and everything else like that that's been kind of going on. Now they just got to kind of figure it out and kind of go from there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a test. There's gonna be some guys that have to step up this week that we probably weren't planning on stepping up, and it's gonna be huge. Like I said, we've got the thing I always go back to in a game like this is that we have a dramatic talent advantage. Like, and it's not the same every week. When we play Oregon, it's not like that. When we play Michigan, it's not like that. We play Indiana, we have a humongous talent advantage. If you look at our 85 scholarship guys versus their 85 scholarship guys, they don't have a single guy on their roster that Mark Pantoni or any of the people in our building offered a scholarship to. Not a single one. And with our guys, they all could have gone to Indiana. None of them picked it. They all picked Ohio State. So that is something, at the end of the day, as long as the coaches don't screw this thing up, we're going to out-talent these guys dramatically. Our tailbacks are better. Our quarterback's better. Our offensive line's better. Our defense is better. Everything's better. I think if you flipped schedules, Ohio State would be number one in the country by a country mile, unanimous. And I think that Indiana would have 2 losses. They would have lost to Oregon. They lost to Penn State. So, as much as, they're 10-0, I look at some of these SEC schools like Alabama, who's 7, Ole Miss is 9, Georgia's 10. Indiana would be underdogs versus all 3 of those teams. And they'd be significant underdogs versus Georgia and Bama for sure. But I think that this will be a game where you can kind of reset the narrative. This can reset kind of the pecking order. I think that when you have these false prophets come to the front of polls, and because again, like they played the worst Michigan team since 2011. They beat them, so hooray, congratulations. But I think that we'll reset the order this Saturday. You have to. I mean, when you're playing guys that you're just dramatically better than, guys that have never stood a chance against us, then I think that you have to get these guys and get after them early. Because again, Indiana is going to come into this game not believing that they can really win. Indiana they're a school that they've seen a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys, they're familiar. They've seen Jack Sawyer at Ohio State's camp, and they've seen a lot of these guys at camps, and Ohio State's guys were the guys that were the A-listers that got the super treatment, and the Indiana guys were the kind of guys that would do the photo shoot and do the workout, and that was kind of it. So I don't know. I think that we've got a huge advantage here. Nevada, I think that this is a chance for Will Howard to really stamp his name, because this will be another national game. Again, I'm fine that it's at noon. I hate that every one of our big games is at noon in the Big Ten. I think it hurts the conference, but I'm good with it. Let's just get this thing over, especially when we have Michigan coming in. But yeah, I think it's going to be this is going to be an incredible opportunity for these guys to really to figure out what they are. Nevada, what's your optimism right now heading into this game? Because I just think when I look at the tape and the talent and the scheme, I don't know how these guys stay with us. But what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a game that we should win, and this is the game we should dominate. Ohio State has got they've got everything going for them in this situation. Defensively, we just need to be responsible, account for the quarterback running, making sure that he's not able to scramble and do stuff, and handle that initial push from Indiana, because they're going to come out, they're going to have they're going to come out with some different formations. They're going to try to throw a punch early, try to make a big play early, try to take the crowd out of the game. And the crowd's got to just not allow themselves to be taken out of the game. Got first in this game, which is kind of unusual, but it feels like that kind of game that if you could get the ball, drive down the field, score a touchdown, that might put you in an advantageous type of situation. But for Ohio State, man, they have been through some adversity this year, and it's definitely a situation where Ohio State's they just got to keep responding, man, no matter what gets thrown at them, no matter what happens, what type of adversity on the road, referees, players, anything. They just got to continue to battle through it. And this is going to be a real test for Ryan, because it's a 3-game stretch unlike no other. It's a 6 or 7 game stretch unlike no other, and it's go time. And they it's all every game from here on out is pretty much an elimination game, starting on Saturday in the Horseshoe. So they've got to approach it that way. They've got to approach it like this is week 1 of the playoffs, and time for them to go get it done.
Yeah, and it's just a time for these guys to really earn their money. Like Justin Fry's got to earn his money this week. So does Ryan Day. So does Chip Kelly. Carson Hinsman is going to be critical this week. It's going to be huge. I'm just telling you, it's going to be a game where you're going to have some unexpected guys step up and play hard and play well. And it's always amazing to me how some guys come back and potentially save coaches' jobs that were maybe shelved. So it's going to be a very interesting week for these guys and going forward, because some adversity. But I think that this team's built. They're built for it. I think our scheme is very friendly for guys, and I think it's very potent, especially when you've got to rotate some guys in. We've seen a lot of guys come in and play, and this is a long season. Again, the crazy thing is, like, in the old days, like, not to be weird, but like, when I played 1,000 years ago, like, we had 2 weeks left and the season was over until the bowl game. These guys have 2 weeks, then they got to see the number 1 team, then they got to play 3 or 4 more games, which is, whew. I mean, you get to the playoffs, man, and if you're the 5 seed, like we were last week, you're playing, you got 4 games left after this long, brutal season. So truly is a war of attrition, a war of depth. And you're going to need some guys to step up and be heroes. And again, I always tell people, like, there's no reason that you can't be the hero. Carson Hinsman is the hero right now. He's a guy that stepped in after they shelved him. Again, it's poor of a coaching job as I've ever seen, shelving Carson Hinsman in favor of Tigra and Austin Seyerveld. And Carson comes off the bench and plays fantastic. Then all of a sudden, you're going to be leaning on him even more. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this the rest of this week goes. Nevada, as the playoffs get cranking, are you still? I sent you a tweet earlier today. Lane Kiffin talking to some SEC coaches, talking about how they wanted to dodge the SEC title game and get the bye week then, and then be the 5 seed, which is what you've been saying for, I don't know, 3 months. Is that still where your head is? Do you think that 5 seed is the number 1 spot you want to be at?
Well, I mean, clearly you want to be at the number 1 spot, but if you can't be at the number 1 the next best spot is clearly the 5. I mean, there's no question about it, and people are starting to clue into that. It's kind of an error in the system, but it's the way that they've kind of got it set up right now. And so for Ohio State, Ohio State's got a lot of paths to the playoffs. Um, I mean, heck, they could conceive they could lose this weekend and still be part of the top 12. So Ohio State's got that loss to Oregon is really looked at by the committee as almost like a win because they ranked us number 2 after that 1 point loss, and so it really didn't really affect us in that much in a significant manner. So like I said, we've got a lot of paths to the playoffs. We just got to get it done. I just got to look at it this way: if we can't beat Indiana at home, then we're probably not going to do much in in the playoff anyway. So I feel like I think you get what you deserve in life, and this is one of those situations where Ohio State's going to get what they deserve, and they got to go get it done on Saturday. I mean, Saturday's a time for guys to rise up, and as you said, somebody's going to get a chance to be the hero. Why not you? And every time somebody we face some adversity, we need a big play. Somebody steps it up. Every time somebody goes down, somebody else steps it up. Hey, that's where we're at Ohio State. We've got a lot of players, got a lot of things, and but we're gonna be tested. And Ohio State's gonna, you feel that adversity, and it does one of two things to you. It either kills you or it makes you stronger. And we're gonna find out about Ohio State. They're gonna face adversity as they go through this, and we'll see which direction it takes them. I have a sense it'll bring them even closer together or make them stronger. But that's just the way that I read things. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think they have a choice. I mean, the thing about when you go through adversities, you gotta it's next man up. And like I always say, everybody wants to play until it's time to play. Then you can see who really wants to play, because there's always guys that I played with guys, I coached guys that would grumble and complain, and I'm not going to say the B word, but would do that about playing time and I should be starting, I should be playing. Well, some guys are going to get their they're going to get their shot. We'll see if the coach, because again, Carson Hinsman, he's taken that thing a bull by the horns and just thrown it on the ground and stomped on it. And that's something where like if I'm one of these guys coming off the bench, I want to make the coaches look bad. I want to make the coaches look stupid. And that's kind of what Carson's done. He's made these guys look really bad for not playing him when clearly he's one of the 5 best. He's one of our 3 best linemen, I think. And it's not really even close at this point. So I think that Carson and Donnie and Josh are our 3 best linemen right now, and I think that it's going to be really tight as we head down the stretch. But they got to lean on these guys, and this running game, and it was. That was kind of rich, because Ryan gets on the podium today, and I really like Ryan. And I think Ryan's done a fantastic job this year. But when he says, like, you got to give a lot of credit to the players, and they talk all the time about how great the coaches are and all this, but you got to give credit. They've got really great players on this. And I'm like, well, we didn't offer any of them, not one. There's not a single guy on that roster we offered a scholarship to, not a single one. So I don't, maybe you should reevaluate who's doing your recruiting if you think they've got a bunch of great players over there, because I don't. I think they've got good players. I think that their scheme and the bluster of their coaches, he's not Urban, but you can tell that the team kind of takes on the personality of the head coach, and they're confident. But make no mistake about it. Like, Michigan up front was mauling them. Their D line was mauling them at the end of that game last week. Indiana's offensive line didn't want anything to do with the 2 interior guys from Michigan. I watched the whole tape. So if we don't get that out of Tyleek and Ty Hamilton, I'll be disappointed. If we don't get Jack Sawyer, and JT, and again, last year with a different head coach, different coaching staff, they wanted to run the ball. They wanted to shorten the game. They wanted the game to be done in 2 hours even. Get out of there, protect their tackles, protect their young linemen from Jack and JT. And they did a good job of it. I mean, there really wasn't a lot of opportunity to rush the passer. And again, I know that we beat these guys today. And Jack Sawyer was the best player on the field on defense last versus Northwestern. I watched the whole thing. He was fantastic. But a lot of these teams, they just don't really want to. They don't want to. They don't want to expose their tackles, and they don't want to expose their quarterback to hits. So they try to get rid of the ball quick. Now, when you play Purdue and Purdue hangs onto it for 9 seconds, then you see the sack parade start. When you blitz Sonny and he gets home a couple times, you see the sack parade start. But a lot of these guys, they know they've got a long season, and they're not trying to have their quarterback peeing blood after the game, so they get rid of the ball fast. That's how these MAC schools were. But be interesting to see how confident Indiana is pass protecting versus our guys up front, because I would not be. I think that their line's good. They're not great. I think that if our guys are gassed up, which they should be, again, they've got 2 or 3 shots left in the shoe if we get that home playoff game, and that's it. And then you never play in the shoe again. So don't save it. Don't save it to when you're 40. When you're 40, I'll just be hosting a podcast every night, and you'll be like, "Yep, my body still feels great now. Glad I sold out when I was playing at Ohio State, because I walk around great now. I get a little bit of cardio in before the show, which is why I usually have a little bit of a glaze on my head. But I don't know. I'm just excited. This is gonna be a big stretch for Ryan Day. There's a lot of pressure on Ryan Day this week versus Indiana. You can't lose to Indiana at home. I don't care how good they are, but I don't think we will, just because I think that we have such a talent discrepancy that it's almost insane. And if Michigan had any type of offense, then I think that they would have beaten Indiana last week. So, Nevada, we got a couple super chats. We can dig into those. Any other thoughts?
No, just like I said, it's gonna be a good challenge for Ohio State. I'm just excited because I'm excited to see the crowd get into it. I'm excited to see I feel like the defense is really ready to take over. Up until now, I feel like the offense has pretty much, I won't say dominated the action, but for the most part, I think they've carried the team. I think that we're ready for the defense to really start taking it to the next level, really start clamping guys down, creating turnovers, creating negative plays, and really kind of establish himself as the premier defense in college football. And I think this starts this Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Dub V Buckeye, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for the 5. Just as a reminder, last coach that got an extension for an Ohio State game was Mel Tucker. I've talked about this all week, and he got embarrassed by the Bucks, Nevada OH. Yeah, I mean, that Michigan State team, Kenneth Walker was Heisman contender, Heisman finalist type guy, and they'd beaten Michigan, and Mel Tucker got a big extension. And I mean, they came out here, and like the whole time I'm saying, I've watched Michigan State. Like, I watch tape. Like, I don't just I don't listen to what a bunch of moron journalists write about these guys. I literally study the players, and I'm like, okay, can this guy move as an offensive lineman? Can he stay in front of Jack JT? How strong is he? How do they do against Michigan? Like, Michigan, 55 for Michigan was murdering these guys, getting after him nonstop. And he was a one-man wrecking crew. And we've got 4 of them that are as good as him. So, I don't know. That Michigan State team, they ran the ball versus bad teams, but when I the guys they had, all those Ohio, JD Duplain and those guys, I was like, those guys can't block our guys. There's no way. Nick Samak, they're not going to block our guys. The guys that Ohio State passed on, they're not blocking our guys, and they didn't. They got absolutely massacred, 60-something nothing, and it was the beginning of the end for Mel. I mean, Mel obviously, the guy that I've known for a long time, known since high school, like obviously was really stupid. Sexually harassing the sexual harassment coach, which is elite level. But again, coaching is a profession filled with morons, where these guys get these ungodly extensions because athletic directors are dumber than coaches, and they give them these crazy amounts of money, and then you're on the hook for it, and you got to sue to try to get guys fired for cause. So it is what it is. But I could see, I don't think it's going to be a similar thing, because I don't think Kirk Cignetti is a good coach. I didn't think Mel was ready to be a head coach. I think that he fooled a lot of people. But I think Kirk Cignetti is legit. I mean, he's worked his way up the ladder, and it was interesting. He said the last time he was here was in 2003 when we played NC State, the Phillip Rivers game, which I was a freshman, and they were an inch and a half away from beating us in the shoe or tying us in overtime. They had T.A. McClendon and Phillip Rivers and Mario Williams. They had a squad. They sucked for most of the year, but against us, they played the game of their lives and took, I think, triple overtime or something crazy. So it was nuts. Nevada, your thoughts? Just as a reminder, the last coach that got an extension before an Ohio State game was Mel Tucker, and he then got embarrassed by the Bucks, Nevada OH.
It's hard not to draw comparisons between that and like you said, Tucker obviously is not the coach that Cignetti is. Cignetti's a good coach. Also, he took advantage of the transfer portal, brought in a bunch of those James Madison kids. So he's been able to kind of change the culture and the talent level of their team relatively quickly. Got a veteran squad returning, I think, 21 or 20 of 22 starters and stuff. So it's going to be a good challenge. It's going to be a fun game, and I just taking the pulse of this team, I just think they're ready to take it up a notch, and they seemed super juiced up. And the only way Indiana was going to win this game was if we weren't super juiced up, if they caught us off guard, if we were down, a pint emotionally or whatever it is. But I think from an emotional standpoint, I think Ohio State's going to be playing at a very high emotional level on Saturday, and I think that's going to be that ultimately is going to be bad news for Indiana.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's this with the playoffs and the seeding and getting ready for Oregon. There's just so much at stake right now. It's going to be you get like 2 more shots guaranteed in the shoe. I mean, I don't know what else you need to say. And I think that if you're juiced up and you're kind of the heavyweight champion, and then they've got some young upshot. If you're John Bones Jones and they're bringing in some contender who they're hyping as the next great team or the next phenom, like if you're John Jones, don't you want to knock that guy out and prove a point? Like who's the real dog? I mean, I would. I mean, these Johnny come lately teams, they kill me because they get to go through the whole season and they get slurped by the media and they're beloved and they can't do anything wrong and they're the Cinderella darling of college football. Like Ohio State's never that. Ohio State, no matter how good we do, we get beaten to death by the national media. We get beaten to death by morons in the fan base. And so, like it makes you a little callous. So Indiana's all roses. So they have a chance to ruin the prom. They get to be like Carrie and show up and kill everybody at the prom, and that's what I hope we do. Like again, like I'm tired of the Indiana stuff. Again, look at the schedule. Don't give me the comparative thing where Nebraska this, whatever. Like I don't care. Nebraska would never get up for Indiana, and they sleptwalked in that game. Indiana showed up, thumped them. But again, our guys got to play. Our guys, this is Ryan. And again, Ryan's going to beat teams with equal talent, and this team doesn't even have close to equal talent. So normally in games like this where we dramatically out talent guys, Ryan runs it up on them. So I think we'll be in really good shape. Big Red Buck, thank you for the 20. Appreciate you, my friend. Something that was said today. Will said something interesting. We are taught that a DB running with his back to you means an open wide receiver. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I mean, makes sense because how's a DB supposed to play coverage if he can't see the ball? He has no idea where the ball is, when it's coming. So if you're running a guy off in man coverage and all of a sudden you've got the back of the DB's jersey behind you, like I mean, why not take a shot? I mean, if your receiver knows where the ball is coming, that's the advantage of playing offense. Is the cadence and the route. The DB has no clue what the route's going to be. He can guess, study film, tendencies, whatever. But like, even if you know what the route is, if you had JJ Smith, like you're still going to make the play. So yeah, I mean, Will's they're taught to be aggressive. And again, some of these receptions, some of these interceptions, some of these balls that aren't completed, whatever. A lot of times, like when people think it's Will Howard's fault, it's the receiver's fault. I mean, the receiver's taught don't let a ball get intercepted. If you can't get it, make sure the other guy doesn't get it. For some reason you can't get it. So, but yeah, I've heard that a lot, and I think that's just having confidence in your receivers because it's like it takes 2 to tango. Well, it takes 2 to play to make a completion. It's not just the quarterback throwing it to the perfect spot. Like the receiver's got to come get the ball too. And we've got guys that are really good at that, like JJ and Emeka. So makes your life pretty easy. Nevada. Again, Big Red Buck, thanks for the 20. He says, today Will said something interesting. We were taught that a DB running with his back to you means an open wide receiver. Isn't that interesting? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, if you haven't listened to Will Howard talk, man, what an impressive kid. And the fact that they just, every week they roll out, Jim Knowles, Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, and Will Howard. And, and he's such an articulate spokesperson, never says the wrong thing. But no, we talked about this earlier in the year. When the Ohio State fan base was just roasting Will Howard for having the audacity to throw an interception on a ball where he had the defensive guy with his back. JJ had run kind of a lazy route, kind of took it out to the, too close to the sideline. Will threw it out there, and the guy intercepted him, and people were just losing their mind. And I was like, guys, he is literally, it's in Chip Kelly's manifesto. That line is literally in there. If you see the defense back, your guy's open. You have to throw it. When you have a one-on-one and you see the defensive backs back, and you've got J.J. Smith out there. J.J. is open. Throw the ball to J.J. So, I was trying to say to people like, oh, you don't have to defend Will. I'm like, well, I'm just trying to explain to you guys what they're taught, what the reasoning is behind it. And I even cited, literally, Chip Kelly's got this on his office. He's published on the internet like a 25-page thesis on offense. And this is one of his core tenets and one of his core beliefs. And this is something for Will that he had to learn differently, because when he was at Kansas State, this is not what they were teaching him. They weren't teaching him a whole lot. They weren't teaching him a whole lot about progressions, about footwork, about moving the ball down the field. They basically, it's like see ball, go ball, do things. So the biggest sadness that I have is that we only got Will for 1 year, and that it's almost over for him, because man, if he'd had one more year under these guys, no telling what he could have done. But hey, he's going to have a chance to be great here these last 6 games, and go from great to legendary. And I'm hoping it starts this Saturday against Indiana.
Yeah, he's a special player. Special player. I wish we would promote him a little bit for the Heisman, because he should be at New York for sure, the way he's playing. I mean, he's having a better season than any guy we've seen. So, especially with his feet. And he's got 3 statement games in a row to really stamp it. So hopefully at some point we'll acknowledge that he exists from a communications standpoint at Ohio State. Mike Green, thanks for the deuce. I hope Jim Knowles brings it with creative blitzes. Yeah, I think he will. I mean, you look at what he's done versus teams like Northwestern. I think that you got to attack Indiana's offensive line. You can't just let them sit there, because they're going to be scared to death against our guys. They know that when you go against guys like Tyleek and JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer, if you have an off day, then you're going to get embarrassed. And you're going to be on the highlight reel, and you're going to be like the right tackle from Penn State 2 years ago or whoever. And those guys know that. They haven't seen anybody like our guys. The only guys they've seen are the Michigan guys, and the Michigan guys ate their lunch. So this will be it'll be a test. And again, Jack's playing really high level. Jack was, Sonny statistically was better than Jack last week, but Jack was all over the field. He was doing everything, running people down, forced to fumble, hustling, just playing out of his mind. So, he's going to be a rich guy in the NFL. And people better realize that quick, that we're going to miss a guy like Jack Sawyer, because he is crazy. He's crazy. I mean, just watching him, and he's going to be one of those underappreciated guys. He'll be like a way better version of Jonathan Cooper. Like, Jonathan Cooper is a guy that nobody cared about, nobody even knew existed, and he just signed a $60 million extension in the NFL over 4 years with the Broncos. So, sometimes these guys, you don't realize how good they are until they're gone. That's going to be Jack. But yeah, I think we'll be real creative and real pressureful this weekend, and I'm excited about it. Carrots Washington, thank you for the 5. Have we heard anything about the Big Ten reviewing the play that Fitzgerald, the player from Northwestern, it did to JJ at Nevada OH?
Well,
they sent it in. Now, I don't know what would take so long for the Big Ten could review that play in 5 minutes, so I don't think they're going to suspend the kid, even though they should. Again, when I watch it, it makes me sick, and I'm not going to be Tommy Tough Guy, but if I saw someone do that to Ted Ginn, I'd have lost my. You know what? I mean, you guys understand, I really try not to swear on the show, and I really don't swear, but I would have lost it. I'd have been ejected and probably suspended for this game, because if someone twisted Ted Ginn's ankle, as much as I love Ted Ginn or Gonzo or Santonio or Troy, I'd have lost my mind. But I don't think any of our guys saw it. I hope they didn't see it. But the way that guy torqued back on his ankle was malicious. It was like an MMA move. And I mean, I would have lost my mind. JJ's kicking at him. And nobody on their sideline did anything. Nobody cared. Northwestern sideline. So, they're scumbags. I hope their whole coaching staff gets fired. And I wish nothing but malice and pain on that. I mean, that was as disgusting as I've seen. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Ryan doesn't get any bonus points for being emotional at the podium, but I wish he would have been a little bit more emotional today, because one of the geniuses today asked if he turned that in, and he said yeah, and no words. But again, there's no place for that. There's no place for trying to take out the best player in the country because you're upset because you guys suck and you guys aren't worth anything on the football field. Just angry, just pure pure dirty. I mean, it's even worse than a cheap shot. That is literally you're trying to snap his ankle. You know, when you grab the side of an ankle and you twist it like that, and then you twerk I mean, you could really hurt a guy like that. I mean, he could have been out for the year. But, you know, again, it's just me. It'll say a lot about the Big Ten if they don't suspend him. And I think that they're a bunch of snatches and they're not going to do anything because they're too politically correct. But that kid shouldn't play again in the Big Ten after that. Nevada, your thoughts. Karis Washington, thanks for the 5. Have you heard anything about the Big Ten reviewing what the Northwestern player did to JJ? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we had reported a couple days ago that they sent that in, and Ryan had kind of confirmed that today during the press conference. I don't know. I mean, I think the Big Ten might do. I like Tony Petitti. I think there's a new feeling, new sheriff in town there at the Big Ten. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did something with the kid because it was over the line. It was beyond the pale, and I think it'd be an easy thing for them to step in and do something about, especially for a team going nowhere and a kid that's nothing. To kind of make a statement that type of stuff isn't going to be allowed. Remember, it is only Tuesday right now, so there's plenty of time, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to hear something from the Big Ten tomorrow on this.
Yeah, I'm all for physical football. Like, I mean, if it's a bang play and maybe it's a targeting and like I get some of that. So there's a lot of stuff that's real close, but that was malicious. It was vile, and again, it deserves to be punished. Like there's no place for that in college football. No place for that anywhere, except for a UFC cage. Ravia Tube, thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being on here every night. Looking at Will Howard's numbers, he's literally 2 or 3 in the nation on deep ball. Many other metrics. What's it going to take in the next 3 games for him to get into the Heisman as a finalist? Nevada, he's 2 or 3 in the nation in deep ball, but he cannot throw a deep ball. Please, can you help my mind unmeld? This is like Ripley's Believe It or Not at this point, where it's like,
well, no, it was just
he's 2 or 3 in the metrics, but the narrative is he cannot throw the deep ball ever. Your thoughts?
Well, no, it's just because the narrative started and people just look at something and they hate it when you quote numbers, man. People hate it when you quoted numbers. Man, they just, I hate those numbers. And I had somebody pointing today about how Michigan's defense shut down Indiana, but Michigan's defense is just way better against the run than Ohio State's. And I'm like, well, Michigan's defense is giving up 3.39 yards per attempt, and we're giving up 2.79 yards per attempt. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's just like, hey man, math is the universal truth. What is it going to take to get Will to Heisman? We got to win. We got to win all 3 games. Win all 3 games and have winning performances in all 3 games. And I think Will's a Heisman finalist at that point. You can see, it's starting to get out there. The drum beats are going on social media. People realize what a crazy oversight this is. I mean, if we had a competent sports information director instead of that lackey Jerry Emig, he would already be up there. But the odds makers are starting to bring the odds down on him. If he pops off on Saturday, I think you'll see him go up, and then he dominates Michigan and he beats Oregon. We'll be back in business, but got to go do it. It's a long road to hoe. Got some stuff to do, but he's going to have an opportunity with the light shining bright and everybody in the world watching. He's going to have a chance to do it, and we're going to need him. We're going to need every bit of his veteran leadership and, dare I say, moxie to pull this thing off. But it first starts with winning the 3 games, and you got a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly it. I mean, why did Troy win it? Because we won them all. We won every game up until we beat Michigan and ran the table. And the Heisman's done before the playoffs, so they don't vote for it after the playoffs. So you win the next 3, and I mean, I just don't. I don't know how you can't get it done. I love the position we're in because you win the next 3, you beat a top 5 team, you beat your rival, and then you potentially beat the number 1 team in the nation. So I mean, you're going to be beating Dylan Gabriel, who's likely a finalist or close to a finalist, and I mean, it's a weird year because like the favorites are Travis Hunter and Austin Jeanty, and Travis Hunter doesn't have any pressure on him because he's at Colorado. Nobody expects Colorado to be any good. Nobody expects him to do anything. They're not even they're 16th in the playoff rankings right now. So I mean, that's no pressure, I mean, and plus Prime, as much as I think, I go back and forth on Dion all the time. I think that he's a genius for marketing something that is unmarked. Like Colorado football, like my in-laws lived in Boulder, and we used to go to Colorado football games, and I mean, it was like, stadium's half empty, and people are just happy to be there, and nobody cares if you win or lose, and everybody's kind of high, and it's like kind of whatever. But now it's a tough ticket, and people are excited, and he's made that place into it's a rock star thing, and he's built something out there, which is interesting. Because when I was out there, I was like, this would be, if you could send your kids somewhere, I mean, there can't be a more beautiful campus in the country than Colorado. Oh my God, it's beautiful. The stadium's beautiful. It's fun atmosphere, but there's also no pressure. It's a different Ohio State. Like people walk into Ohio State, man, it's like our fans. It's like they're walking like they're like a lobster inside of the pressure cooker. I mean, they're just like, oh my God, like they walk in, they're so scared and miserable when we play Michigan or Indiana that we might lose. And, we might have a panic attack in the middle of the stadium. So, but yeah, I think Will Howard, they're putting him up there, which is a start, but I mean, you got to start promoting him because I mean, we were promoting Marvin by this time, and I'd promote JJ. JJ's a Blitnikoff semifinalist, and he should win it. He's the best receiver in the country, bar none. And again, I know people get excited about numbers, but to me, all that matters is winning. And if we run the table, we avenge Oregon, then Will Howard should win the Heisman. Doug Tipton, thanks for the 5. Was Michigan able to run the ball in Indiana? It's doable. Indiana is the top 5 run defense. You see our running backs throwing against them. No, I mean, Michigan's line isn't very good, and they have no threat of a throwing game, so not really. I mean, I don't watch Michigan's offense because I don't want to have, my eyes start bleeding from watching terrible coaching. I mean, their running backs have regressed because Tony Alford, who's the laziest human being on earth, is now coaching those guys. And it shows because they don't work hard. They don't run hard. They miss holes. The rotation's all screwed up. It's terrible. I can't watch it, but I do watch Michigan's defense because they do play defense, and they're not dominant like they were when they had the signals, but they've got some good individual play. The guys up front are good. We got to block those guys. That's going to be a challenge for us. So, but I think with our scheme and the way that we stretch guys out, the deception that's in our offense, and again, deception, not a bad thing. Like, again, I'm not above fooling people. If you have the power and the skill to just move guys off the ball when they know where it's coming, why not throw in the deception with motion, with misdirection, with read option, with triple option, with a lot of the stuff Chip Kelly likes to do with unbalanced, and really make it tough. I love what we do because, again, a lot of great offense is just confusion. If you can confuse the people that have to read, like the linebackers and the safeties, then magically you can make their life a living hell. And that's what Chip Kelly likes to do on guys. And I think that's what we're going to do. And I think Will's going to run it this week. I think Will's going to have a rushing touchdown and 50 yards rushing. And that's going to break their backs a little bit. Nevada, your thoughts? Was Michigan able to run the ball? Is Indiana a top 5 run defense? And how do you see our running backs throwing against them? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a game where the rushing stats were pitiful. I mean, Michigan only rushed for 2 yards a carry, and you say, wow, well, that's really bad. But Indiana only rushed for 1.8 yards per carry. Mm-hmm. So, so neither team could run against each other. I mean, it was bad, like bad. I think Indiana had like 38 yards rushing or something like that. So it was, it's a game that neither team could really get it going. And that was a road game for a very, very mediocre Michigan team. So now you've got Indiana. And now I will say the transitive property of it doesn't always work. You can't just look at performances because by that metric, Indiana's going to kill us because they killed Nebraska and we struggled with Nebraska. So can't always look at, like comparisons about that and just pick the ones you like. But I think the Indiana's never played in front of a crowd like this because Indiana's always been the little brother, the little school that kind of came in and played and maybe challenge somebody at home, but to have on the road, this is their first top 5 versus top 5 game in their history. And this is our third one this year. So it just kind of puts the game in kind of a historical perspective for them. They're just not ready for it. They're not ready for it. They've never had to play. If they can step in and silence that Ohio State crowd that's going to be going nuts and making it really, really hard for them to call cadence and and get their plays in and not have their brain scrambled, then I'll just tip my hat and salute them. But I think they're going to have a long afternoon or a long morning, afternoon, whatever you want to call it, on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I was talking to Jerry Cook and made a great point today, and he always says, like, people complain about like our stadium and the noise, and everybody does. I do all the time. But the thing about like when you go to Oregon and you hear how loud it is, and you go to Penn State and you hear how loud it is, it's like he's like, well, yeah, because they're playing Ohio State. Most of the time when we're in the stadium, we're playing Purdue or Indiana or whoever, and like nobody gets excited to see Purdue. Like when Purdue plays at Oregon, are they really that loud? Probably not. But like when Michigan comes to town, it's pretty loud. When we played Texas in 2005, that was as loud as I've ever heard outside of Beaver Stadium in 2005. But like Texas, when we played them in 2005, our stadium was about to collapse, and you were there in Nevada. You remember how loud that game was. I know that we lost and that sucked, but like I did feel like our crowd was lacking that night. So be interesting again with the noon. Again, Texas was one of Kirk's dreaded night games, because I miss the Old Country Buffet $4.99 special before 4:00 for dinner. And I was angry about that. So I went out and played angry because I knew that I'd have to play full price after the game at wherever I ate out afterwards. So, I was upset. I used to like,
well, no, you're the king of the day game. So like this stretch where everybody else is up in arms and complaining and doing stuff on social media. Honestly, be honest. You probably just don't even understand it at all because you're like, wait a second, noon games are the greatest things that ever happened in the history of man since the remote control and DoorDash. It's like right up there, right?
DoorDash and a MacBook Pro, MacBook Pro,
MacBook Pro, and a new
Santa Nevada,
and a noon football game. You're like, man, you love these noon games. This is every week.
No. Let me get this real straight too. There's no mincing of my words. I love noon football games. I love them as a player. I love them as a coach. And you know who else loves them? The players. The players love noon games. They love it. Because they want to go play. They don't want to sit and have an anxiety attack for 7 extra hours when you don't have to. They love those guys. They ask those guys about noon games. They're like, we love it. It's great. Greatest thing in the world. Take it all day. So, hey, these guys are like pit bulls in a cage. And you make that pit bull sit there for another 6 hours in the stupid hotel. And the worst part about when you sit in that hotel is you got to do like 2 or 3 more walkthroughs. And if you know anything about football, the last thing you're going to do is do another walkthrough, walking through the same stuff that you've walked through for the last 7 days. Like I don't need any more reminders on what the assignment check is after 7 days of doing the same assignment checks. Like, I'm good. Let's go play. So again, that's the thing is like when you do a night game, you essentially sacrifice your ability to go out and grab dinner with your family and then go out and kick it with your boys. Instead, you have to lay in a hotel and do walkthroughs. That's what you sacrifice. So I'm like, dude, let me get done with this stupid game by 4. Let's go be the top 5 team by 4. Go out to dinner with the folks. Go out and kick it with the homegirls and the homies and have some drinks and then have a night. As opposed to like you get done at a night game, you get done at midnight and you ain't going nowhere. You're going home. Going to Waffle House. So steak and shake Waffle House. It's terrible. So again, I've lived it. I've been on both sides of it. Trust me. I love noon games and I'm so happy. I wish every game for the rest of my life is at noon. Call me Big Barton Noon, Big Noon Barton. I don't care what you call me, but I'm happy with it. I love it. Shout out Fox. Thank you, Fox, forever. There you go, Nevada. Is that good enough for my noon endorsement?
Well, yeah, the only better than noon is that 11 a.m. game in Chicago. Was that like the best ever for you there? Was that like, oh my gosh?
The best ever was when I was with Kim and her family, Tony T and Connie T, her parents, and we were in Hawaii. And the Ohio State Michigan game kicked off at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. It was some ungodly early time. And I was like, this is the greatest thing of all time. The Ohio State Michigan game kicked off at like 7 a.m. in Hawaii. And I was like, this is awesome. At 7 a.m., I'm at the omelet station by the beach. I was like, I ate like 12 omelets. Because the thing about when you buy the buffet at the Coalina Marriott thing is if you buy the buffet, you can, the buffet is open for 4. I got there as soon as the buffet opened, it was open for 4 hours. So I had like 12 omelets and I watched this. It was when Ezekiel, it was 15 when we beat Michigan by 50 points up there. And I had me about 12 omelets and oh God, it was great. Amazing. Game was over by like 10 a.m. Get to go out and just like lay on the beach with a stomach full of egg whites. It was just lovely. Absolutely lovely. So if they moved to the 7 a.m., not complaining, Nevada. I'm just telling you. All right. Mike Green, what is up, my man? Thank you for the deuce. Hope you're doing great. Thank you. The team up north exposed Indy big time. What do you see? Well, Nevada, my Statomatic partner, reading off the fact that they were 2 yards a carry and 3 yards a carry. Like, I don't think the offensive lines are very good on either Michigan or Indiana, and I think that our D line is really good. So I think we're going to get after them. And again, when you've played some of the worst teams in college football and you feasted on them, FIU and these other turd Fergusons that they've had on the schedule, like you can get some gaudy numbers. But when you play real teams, then all of a sudden the music stops. Because like I said, they didn't play Oregon, they didn't play Penn State at Penn State like we had to. So we have no idea. I mean, I think Penn State would beat Indiana. I really do. They had to go to Happy Valley, like with Penn State's defensive line. Yeah, they'd smoke these guys. I feel very confident in that. So, Nevada, your thoughts. What do you see in the Indy front?
I mean, it's a game that we should be able to exert our will on both sides of the ball, and I know I keep coming back to the crowd, but for the offensive line, for them not to be able to get off the ball quite as quickly, and our defense, having that extra jump on top of that, just be able that split second, that split second can make a huge difference for a team. And I think for an offensive line that's already maybe a little shaky, that can be physically dominated, and then you add on top of that crowd noise and uncertainty about that, and the defense getting jacked up, and I just think it's going to be a long afternoon. I think it's going to be a long afternoon for Indiana defensively, or I should say offensively, because I think our defense is real. I think this is the week that the OSU offense finally puts a clean imprint on a big game like this and just completely takes over the game and breaks it open. I really do see that coming.
Yes, I genuinely don't think Indiana thinks they can win this. I think for them, it's the moral victory, stay close. I mean, Indiana hasn't beaten us since Earl Bruce was here in the 80s, so it's like, that was like the darkest day in Ohio Stadium history when a team like Indiana beats us. So, and this team we got is way better than the team that those guys had. Doug Shaver, thanks for the deuce. You got a super chat a little further down. I will get to that in a second. Jeff Perry. Oh God, I love these emojis. Lemon character. Thanks for the 5. Thanks for being on Trevor. Lemon character and baby lemon jumping in the air to do a high five, Nevada. That is when someone puts in an emoji and it just puts the wording for what the emoji is doing. So that is always a fantastic super chat. Lemon character and baby lemon. That would be like me and Nevada, because I'm bigger than Nevada, so he'd be the baby lemon jumping in the air to give me a high five. Baby lemon, Nevada.
I would be like baby, I'd be like one of those small lemon heads, and you'd be like that big one with like 4 of them are stuck together. Like
I'd be like the Kool-Aid man lemon head. I'd be like Kool-Aid lemonade, just big yellow.
Oh, hey, Kool-Aid.
Big stomach, big smile on my stomach from the sweat. Except it wouldn't be sweat from being cold; it'd be sweat from being hot.
I'm sorry. Right. Every time I think of you in that red jumpsuit, I think of Kool-Aid. I really do. I cannot get that vision out of my head.
What red jumpsuit?
Your red sweatsuit. When you'd have a red sweatsuit. I could see you in a big red sweatsuit.
When I used to play?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got all kinds of flavors, man. I've been in a red jumpsuit when I played Ohio State. I got an orange jumpsuit when I was in county jail. I mean, I got it all, baby. I got the orange. That orange jumpsuit, man. I think they gave me 5XL pants, and I'm only a 3XL. So the 5XL I had to hold because it was for a 5'9", 500-pound dude. So those were fun. So I could be Orangeade or I could be Red Aid, whatever Kool-Aid flavor you'd like. I could be.
They didn't let you
Huh?
bring that stuff home with you. You didn't get to bring
Oh,
home your stuff from county,
the
did
only
it?
thing the only thing that they let you keep are the Crocs, and I was like, why would I want to keep orange Crocs? I was like, just throw these away. Get me out of these things. My God, you know. I will
you
say
got you, you
the
took
only
them your
good
Crocs for the dog to play with or something like
the
that.
only good thing about being in county jail is you'll never be depressed again once you get out because you can actually eat, like, you can order DoorDash as soon as you get out, so that's great. And for two, I lost like 15 pounds in 3 days because the food's so bad. I was like, I really need to go to county for like a month and just I'll come out, I'll be like 205 pounds. I'll be ready to fight John Jones in the octagon. It'll be great. So that is anyone that's ever trying to lose weight, man, go to jail for a week. You'll lose
Yeah,
25
you're
pounds.
like you're like John Candy and Stripes. You're like, what do you guys have here? Like a 6-week program? That's perfect for me. It's
Oh no, that's what I need is a 6 week in county eating those powdered eggs. Whew,
like,
I'll tell you, you ain't lived until you've been in county. It's 5 a.m. They bring out the trays, you know. And I used to give my
oh,
tray away. I traded my entire tray for a thing of milk because the milk was the only thing that was edible in there. Doug Shaver, thank you for the 5. What do you think about the defense leaving the middle of the field open for the opposing QBs? A huge lane to run. Well, I mean, it just depends on what coverage we're running. I mean, if we're running two high safeties, which is kind of in vogue right now, then you're going to leave the middle of the field open because you're trying to help versus RPOs. So, like the two high stuff is in vogue right now. When we used to do more of the cover 3 stuff with Jeff Halfley, then it was, you're not going to leave the middle of the field open, but it's more to help in the passing game versus RPOs. So I don't think it's, the one thing I always tell people about defense is there's no perfect defense. Every defense is going to leave something open or it's going to have a weakness or whatever. But I like our split safety stuff. The one thing about our defense is I won't change anything. I mean, especially now that we're pressuring more, not changing anything because our defense is number 1 in the nation. So don't change it. And unless we're facing a severe running threat from a quarterback, play too high. Screw it. Because if your defensive front is as good as ours is supposed to be, then you can play too high. You don't need an extra guy in the box down for us to run because our guys should be able to whip these guys up front. But if you've got a guy that can run, if you're playing Lamar Jackson or a rushing quarterback, you probably got to get a safety down in the box. Urban Meyer, who I love Urban Meyer to death. He's the best. He said if a team plays 2 high safeties versus our offense, and this is Urban Meyer when we used to run Braxton and JT and all that, then we should run for 1,000 yards in the game. And he wasn't kidding. Because we never saw too high with Urban. Because the way we used to run the quarterback, if you ran too high, you're always going to be outnumbered in the box severely. You're going to get killed. So that was always his mantra. We never saw too high because we'd kill people. Like people could run too high versus us. You'd be crazy. Nevada, your thoughts again. Doug Shaver, thanks for the 5. He said, "What do you think about the defense leaving the middle of the field open for the opposing QBs to have a huge lane to run? What are your thoughts, Nevada?"
well, they've been dropping Caleb Downs kind of into that kind of a tweener position, kind of playing that center field, but bringing him closer to the line to kind of account for that. But no, that's going to be a something. Drew Aller had some limited success early against us with that. Running quarterbacks has been a little bit of our kryptonite, and our likes to run. So, but the good news is Knowles. It's not like they're unaware of it, and we have linebackers that can run. Arvell Reese had a heck of a game last week. Sonny Styles had a heck of a game. CJ Hicks is going to be. They're going to bring CJ Hicks off the edge. He asked for it. He got it. He delivered. And they're going to see more of it. So if you see CJ Hicks lined up on the edge, he's probably coming. So I think they're. I think Indiana's wide receivers are going to have to make some plays against our defensive backs, and while they can make some, I just don't know if they can string those things together consistently. And ultimately, if they put themselves into passing situations, that's going to be problematic for them.
Poohbeard 12, thanks for the deuce. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for always being on here. And thank you for being an Ultra member as well. As we're going to be a scoop meetup for Scum. Don't have anything booked yet. We're open to whatever. If you guys have suggestions, throw those in the comments. Nevada, is there a scoop meetup for Scum? Probably one that you wouldn't invite me to anyways.
3 hours before the game at our tree, we're gonna have our tree lighting. So just you can come there and just meet at Kirk Barton's tree in the Grove 3 hours before the thing, and we'll see you there. It's gonna be quite festive.
Yeah, and if you guys want to meet Nevadabuck, just walk around the stadium, and any old guy that looks like Mr. Magoo, just walk up to him and say, "Are you Nevadabuck? Are you? Are you Nevadabuck?" He's like walking around kind of lost and looking for his
uh,
cocoa, and he's got his 4
uh,
tickets in his own pocket, and he's got his own parking pass, and he's like, "Are you Mr. Magoo? Are you Nevada?"
uh,
So
I have my
any
own.
old guy.
I have the last physical ticket. I insisted upon getting physical tickets, so I will be carrying around
No,
tickets.
you didn't. Did you really?
No,
You have
Kirk, you're
physical.
so easy. You're so easy,
Well,
man. You're so easy.
I figured that you demanding physical tickets is the reason why we can't replace the turf in the stadium. Is because you insist upon getting physical tickets, so we have to have this film turf, this silt turf that's
Well,
banned everywhere except for Ohio State because we're too cheap to change it.
it was either get tickets, physical tickets, or get the TV fixed. And I said, give me the physical tickets, and I could live with the TV being bad.
I can't wait for you to see this TV. I mean, literally, we don't
Yeah.
even get signal anymore. I mean, so again,
I'm gonna,
like,
I'm gonna start yelling at the suite attendant, man, when they get it. It's like, come on, man, just fix this damn thing.
old man that yells at clouds. That's gonna be you. You're like Abe.
No,
You're the Abe Simpson of Ohio Stadium.
dude, we paid a lot of money for that suite. They could at least fix our freaking TV.
Well, that's your problem. Is you paid for it.
Yeah.
Once you pay
Yeah.
for it, they're not going to give you nothing. It's like we got your money. You're not getting anything now, boy. I mean, I could go to Costco. I could go to Costco on Black Friday, buy like a 60-inch TV for $70 probably, and hang it up there. But nope, we got our old tube TV that doesn't. It's got a big cloud in the middle of it. It looks like the cloud from Super Mario Brothers 3 that you can float along in. So. All right, Kurt 5253. Thanks for the 5. Nevada sounded down and was talking about adversity. What is up? Missing something? Is someone hurt? Nevada, what are your thoughts?
We don't break that stuff here, so we'll let Ohio State break it. But invariably, if somebody goes down, it's next man up. Gotta rise up. I think it's a long season. You're always gonna get some body punches. You got to deliver, but we don't like to kind of cross that line. So I'm going to let Ohio State break it.
Yep, we'll let Ohio State break it, even though we always have it first. Mike Green, thanks for the deuce. Well, they finally put CJ on the edge. He looked fire. Sounds like it. Jim Knowles sounded fired up. Again, I love when you can put a guy in a role that he's excited about, even if it's as a third down rusher. Like, give him something because he's a big athlete and he's excited and it's what he wants to do, man. Just let him go out, get after the quarterback and blitz. I always thought he's a great blitzer. He's just not great at doing anything else. So let him go get after the quarterback. You know, I mean, again, that might be his new home. Might be Baron Browning. And Baron Browning's kicking around the leagues of Arizona now, and that could be CJ. You know, the light can come on. You know, next year we're going to need a lot of help replacing our edge guys with Jack and JT. So, and Kenyatta hasn't shown that he can get any pressure. So, I mean, we need a guy that can get pressure off the edge opposite Caden Curry, and he might be the guy. So let's set him loose. You know, tell him to go. Like I said, anytime you get CJ Hicks on a running back, CJ's going to kill the running back. And he's really good at getting around the running back. He's good at pressuring afterwards. And again, that is what he's good at. So it's kind of like having a wide receiver that can run a go route and that's it. Like put him out there and let him run. Like he's like JMO. Like JMO could run past anybody. His route tree was one route, go route. That was it. And so all of a sudden you have him run go routes and he's really good at that. And the rest of it, you're just like, okay, well, he's not really good at anything else. So let's have him run past the safety and catch a 70-yard touchdown and works for us. So we'll take that. Geo Dit, thanks for Geodit 42. Thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, man. The one the scumbag did show is you pressure IU's QB. He folds like a proverbial cheap suit. That's what I would do. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, I think that these guys haven't seen a pass rush like ours. They haven't seen a pressure package like ours. They haven't seen big speed athletes like ours. So, yeah, I mean, I would want to hit this guy early and get him on the ground. And the quarterback's got to go down in the first 2 drives. You got to get him down, get him on the ground, hit him. If it's risky and you give up a long shot, so be it. But you got to hit the guy early. Let him know where he's at. Let him know that he's not playing FIU anymore and he's not playing Buffalo and some of the other teams that these guys play. Like they're playing in the horseshoe versus the Bucks, and got to get the guy on the ground early. Nevada, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the difference is, Michigan was able to get that pressure with 4. We got to bring extra guys, and that makes you susceptible to screens and other things like that. So we're going to have to be timely with it. But I guarantee you Knowles is going to be bringing the pressure. They've made a conscious philosophical change since the Oregon game to be more pressure oriented, and they'll be bringing the house on Saturday.
Nevada on the playoff rankings. We'll just touch this as we slide out of here. Boise State slid into 4. BYU slid down to 12. So basically, Ohio State has the same path where they play BYU in the horseshoe as the 5 seed. Then they got Boise State in the next round, and then they would play Oregon. Then they play either Miami or Texas for the title. How advantageous. This could be hilarious if we beat BYU in the shoe, beat Boise State, neutral site, revenge against Oregon, and then play Quinn Ewers for the national championship. That'd be the funniest thing of all time. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
I think we got a long road. Let's get past Indiana on Saturday. Beat Indiana by 1, and I'm the happiest guy in all of the United States. Just win in advance and just move on. But yeah, no, the 5 spot is overpowered, but we'll get what we deserve. We've got a lot of paths. You never really know what's going to be a good thing in the playoff because you just don't know what the matchups are going to be. But somebody's going to get an easy path to the thing, and it may be inadvertent just because of the way that they set things up, or if there's upsets or whatever there could be. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Nevada, let's wrap this thing. Any final thoughts?
No, just hey, it's time. Ohio State's they got to test their depth this week and really get after it. And it's time for the defense to make a stand. It's time for the fans to make a stand and really show up on Saturday and be heard. And let's go take care of Indiana and establish, put them back in their rightful place and establish our rightful place.
That's right. And establish that our TV will work at some point. All right, let's wrap this thing up. With that being said, appreciate you guys kicking with us as always. Hope you guys had a great Tuesday night with us. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. If you want to help us in a humongous way, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, completely free. Takes 5 seconds to do on each. It's the nicest thing you could possibly do for us because we're trying to grow those. Starting to get a little bit of traction. So again, I appreciate you guys doing that for us. Again, if you enjoy the show, you guys should really subscribe to BuckeyeScoop.com. It is a great Christmas gift. Reach out to us if you have any questions. BuckeyeScoop@gmail.com. Again, we are signing up a ton of our people on Pay It Forward. So thank you to all of you super chatters for paying it forward. We've gotten a ton of new members over the last week. It's great meeting a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys that are veterans that have signed up, first responders, police officers. Thank you for reaching out to us. We're getting you guys all signed up. We get you guys turned around about a day. We got a lot of stuff going on, but we try to get it done as quick as possible. So you guys can jump on the message board, because if you guys like this chat, our message board is like the chat. It's like the Augusta National, where the Masters is played, membership board of chats, because it is nonstop 24 hours a day, and I love it. So that being said, I thank you guys for making this such a huge show. It's a huge show because you guys make it one. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.